Los Angeles. I went to a school called USC that's in LA and studied film there. Finished up, and right after I finished up, I was fortunate to make a feature film with a production company that was owned by Forrest Whitaker. And that film was Fruitvale Station, and what the film was about, it was about the last day in the life of a 22-year-old guy in Oakland, California, who ended up getting shot and killed by the police while he was unarmed. It was based on a true story, and in the true story, a lot of people that were on the BART, which is the Bay Area version of the subway, a lot of people that were on the BART, saw what was happening to this guy and to his friends, and they videotaped it with their cell phones and their video cameras, and basically taped him being killed. And they uploaded it to the internet, and it went to the news, and it went out. That was how the first time that was the first time that I heard about it. And from there, I got the motivation to want to do that project. And I was fortunate enough to do it, to actually shoot it and film it last year, and it was released theatrically, this year. So that's who I am in a brief nutshell. I love to know more about you guys, but I guess we get any questions.
Absolutely. So Mr. Coogler actually brought up the video of what happened to Mr. Grant, to Oscar, when he was shot by police on the cell phone footage. It is a little disturbing to watch. You are watching a person get fatally shot. Is anyone?
Are we going to watch it right now?
I like to show. I think the film opens with this exact same footage, just to show you how powerful it is. And then I have a question for you that I'd like to bring up instantly. Sorry.
I was gonna say let's do it after, because I know you've seen it so many times. It's like it's an emotional thing. Maybe we'll get into the questions.
Step outside or whatever. However y'all want to do it.
We'll do it. Maybe we'll do it after.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So a question I have for you is one that when I have a lot of students, again, as a film teacher for the 11th grade and having worked with these guys in film last year, when I get a lot of pictures, when I get pictures from students, most of them will have an image in their head or something they really want to shoot. For example, they'll say, "Oh, I have this climactic scene where the killer, slashes this person across the throat, and I want to make the whole film based on that." You made this film that, it would have been so easy for a more inexperienced filmmaker to go and make center the entire film around Oscar Grant's death. It would have been so easy to go around and just center the entire film around that scene where he got shot. But you chose to do something different. How did you avoid the temptation to not make the film about the controversy, but about Oscar Grant's life?
Wow, that's a great question. So I'll give you guys some background on what happened. Oscar was a 22-year-old guy. He had recently been released from prison. He was black, and he was shot. There were reports of a fight that happened on the subway. I call it the subway train for you guys. There was reports of a fight that happened on the subway train. The police went on to the train, pulled Oscar and his friends off because they fit the description of the people that were fighting. Detained them there, and eventually at one point an officer goes to handcuff Oscar while the other one puts his knee on Oscar's head. And the Oscar who was handcuffing him stands up, draws his firearm and shoots him in the back. Oscar died a few hours later, and he basically suffocated because the bullet went through his lung, and because he was laying on a concrete slab, it went through his back and kind of bounced back into him. So it's almost as if he got shot twice. In the aftermath, the officer that shot him said that he thought he was grabbing his taser. And basically in the Bay Area, it's a really liberal, it's a very, very liberal place. Obama had just been elected in the office. People were generally pretty happy. And when this came out, it kind of split everybody. And people kind of took sides. Some people took the cop side, and the people that took the cop side said that Oscar kind of deserved what happened to him. And he was just thug. He was a guy who just got out of prison. You know what I mean? And he was fighting on the train. And he brought this on himself. The other side was saying that he was this perfect person who had never done anything wrong in his life. He was brought to train unnecessarily, and he was executed. They turned him into a martyr. You know what I mean? And what I found, and there was a big, huge controversy that ensued. The officer was charged with murder. He was arrested. A lot of riots and protests happened, and the trial ended up having to get moved to Los Angeles, which is a very different world from where I'm from. Even though we're in the same state. So it was a huge controversy that was happening in the Bay Area where I was at, and what people were talking about was if the cop meant to do it, if Oscar deserved to die, how much time the cop would get, how much money his family should get. Nobody was talking about who Oscar was as a person, And I was the same age as the guy when I saw the film. I know people like that. You know what I mean? Like he was was wearing the same kind of clothes that I would wear. It kind of basically looked like it happened to me. And I couldn't help but to personalize it and think, what would happen if I didn't make it home to my family? You know what I mean? Out of a situation like this. And I know so many people who die young due to gun violence, and so often nobody's talking about them as human beings. You know what I mean? Nobody's thinking of them as somebody who has a family, who has loved ones, somebody who's trying to investigate their life. So I thought with this film, it might be great to look at it from a human perspective, to look at it through this person's relationships. You know what I mean? Not looking at the shooting as a crux of the film, looking at his relationships and who he was as a person to the people that loved him the most. So that was how I avoided focusing the film around the controversy of the shooting.
Absolutely. I mean, it's when it does come out in video, I wish it was out now, because I would have made you guys watch this like first week of school. And all the students are getting an article right now about Huffington Post article about how you had to defend a very controversial scene, which I tried to find online. I couldn't find it with the dog, which was kind of foreshadowing in this film. Do you want to, again, students? We had a group of students who were in this room who learned how difficult it is and did a fantastic job working with children, working with the elderly. Advice about working with animals on set. Yeah.
Advice about working with animals on set. In our film, we had a scene where our main character sees a pit bull in the street, and the pit bull ends up being hit by a car, and it affects the character. So there's a scene like that in the film, and obviously we had to work with an animal, during the film, and dogs are actually pretty high up on the intelligence scale, so they're actually compared to other animals, they're relatively easy to work with. Now that being said, it's incredibly difficult to get an animal to do what you need to do to get an animal to act in a scene, and the ones that are really good are really expensive, So this dog that we had was a dog that we got on a budget. He was a dog that was relatively well trained, you know what I mean? But he wasn't necessarily a movie dog. So we had situations where we need the dog to lay, to basically like play dead, but he'll get excited, you know what I mean? He'll jump up, like check people around, and the dog was supposed to be injured, you know what I mean? In this scene when Michael B. Jordan, our lead actor, walks over to him. How many of you guys know Michael B. Jordan?
Friday Night Lights guys?
You heard of Michael?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Friday Night. Okay, cool. So Mike's a real attractive dude. He's really nice. Everybody likes him, and the dog just loved him. So every time Mike would come up to the dog, the dog's supposed to be injured. He just got hit by a car. So the dog would be playing dead. And every time Mike would get close to him, he would just jump up and start looking Mike in the face. Obviously that doesn't work for what we're trying to do. So we have to be very patient. It's tough work. So all of you guys that are writing scenes with animals, I say do it. I say go for it. Just keep that in mind when you guys get to it, and also the intelligence scale of animals. The less intelligent the animal is, the more difficult it's going to be to get it to do what you want to do. And also personality-wise, so dogs are known to be much more agreeable than cats are. If you're doing films with like snakes and lizards, maybe forget about it.
You also work with a little girl too throughout the movie.
Yeah, you're working with children. Yeah, I worked with a very special young actress named Ariana Neal, who was playing Oscar's daughter. And Oscar, as a person, he had a really close relationship with his daughter. He had a daughter named Tatiana, and that relationship kind of was the crux of the film in many ways. So it was very difficult. And whenever you're working with children, something that you guys got to keep in mind are child labor laws. Okay, so what child labor laws are is that those kind of regulate how much that kid can work, how much that kid can be on set. Now a child that is really young can only be on set about half a day. And when you have a lot of scenes with the kid, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna kind of hurt your scheduling process. So you gotta keep that in mind. It's always worth it to get what you need, but it's just something that you gotta know. Where you're used to having a 12-hour day, and you find out that you're only gonna have 6 hours with this, 6 hours with this actress. So and also with kids, kids are gonna be kids, man. Like no matter how great a kid is at being an actor, it's still a kid. They get tired easy, distracted easy. Might have trouble remembering like huge chunks of dialogue. We were fortunate that we had a special actress who was really talented. But I've worked with kids pretty much on every project I've ever done, and it varies, But what you want to do is when you cast it, get the best kids you can fine. You know, and the parents matter a lot. Make sure you're meeting the parents. You know, make sure the parents aren't crazy or anything. That can be tough. But shit, hopefully you guys keep those things in mind.
You guys have questions, general filmmaking questions for Mr. Coogler? Again, when you see it, it's a masterful film, right? Shot well, acted well, written really well, and it's poignant, it's timely, and I think a lot of you can really relate. How many, again, people in this room have been stopped and frisked?
Oh, man.
Right. That's a tragedy, but they're living in the same reality of people in the Bay Area. Again, it's like, oh, parts of Oakland, just like the Bronx.
As you guys saw, we don't got to stop and frisk where I'm from.
Damn, all the black people.
They hold on, who been stopping frisk? Y'all stand up for me? I can.
I really
Are these adults that are frisking you guys?
Yeah.
Nah, let's see. That's tragic, man. I actually read a lot about that. I mean, it kind of all falls into the same, you know, into the same issues. You know, somebody looking at you and saying, you know, because of how you look, you know, you're suspicious. Because of how you look, you're most likely a criminal. And somebody looking at you and not seeing you as a full human being. You know what I'm saying? And I've been through similar situations, man. Have you guys ever thought about making a film about it?
Not really.
I never thought about it.
Never thought about it. That could be interesting. You know, it'd be a film I would watch.
How was your short film experience?
My short film experience.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You toured the festival, you toured the world.
Yeah. My short film experience. So when I started out, you know, this Fruitvale Station was my first feature film, but I made somewhere between 15 and 20 short films, you know, before making that while I was in film school. And what I discovered a lot from making short films. I learned a lot of techniques that I would later use, you know, on Fruitvale, and I met a lot of the people that I like to work with, which is really, really important. You know, filmmaking is something that you can't do by yourself. So it's great to find kindred spirits out there that have talents, and often talents that are the opposite of yours. You know, if you're talented at writing, but you're not that great with actors, maybe you find somebody who's excellent with actors who can't write all that well. And what do? You become their friend. You work with them. You know what I mean? Maybe you write scripts for them. You might find somebody who's not all that great at writing or directing, but is an amazing producer. Is incredibly connected. Great at talking to administrative people and getting what you guys need. So you form a team that way. You know, I found my team through making my short films in film school. But I also found is the type of films that I like to make. You know, I discovered that I like to make films that have some type of theme that I care about at a social level. You know what I mean? And I always try to stick to that rule. I also found that I like to make films about major questions that I have. You know, whether it's personal questions or questions that I have in society. And throughout the process of the film, try to maybe get the answer to it. You know, I rarely find the answers, but at the end of it, I usually have a finished product that I can show to people. You know. So short films, I mean, I advise it, man. And how many of you guys know, I'm reading this book right now by a dude named Malcolm Gladwell. You guys ever heard of this guy? You guys ever heard of a few terms, like a term called the tipping point? You guys ever heard of this? Heard this term? It's another rule called the 10,000 hour rule that this guy kind of developed and talks about. And it says that it takes 10,000 hours of doing something to become an expert at it, or become a master at it. So if you follow that rule in writing or filmmaking, with anything that you guys are interested in, whether it's music, whether it's science, math, you know what I mean, fashion, and you gotta put time in, and then putting that time in, you'll get better and you'll learn more things about yourself, and you'll develop a confidence that's needed to become really good at it. You know, so making short films is a great way to get started on you guys 10,000 hours as filmmakers. You know.
Is it important to you to watch a lot of movies? Are you a big film watcher?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely important. You know, to be a writer, you got to be a voracious reader. You know, to be a musician, you got to be constantly listening to music, and being a filmmaker is no different. You know, you want to see as many films as you can. And I think that it comes naturally though, because if you want to be a filmmaker, I think you're naturally going to be somebody who really respects the medium and really likes watching movies. the biggest thing that I did for myself, and it was kind of like by accident in many ways, was that I discovered international cinema. I was always somebody who watched a lot of movies, watched a lot of domestic movies, but around the time I realized that I wanted to be a filmmaker, I saw a film called City of God for the first time. That was a film that was shot and based in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. At that time, I had never been out of the country before, but I really connected with these characters that were thousands of miles away from my home, and I got this appetite for watching films that were shot and took place in different countries, and then films that took place at different times. And I learned quite a bit from those. Now a lot of my favorite films are films that were shot in Brazil or France or Iran or Lebanon, and it's really helped me as both as a human being in terms of being knowledgeable about the world, but as well as an artist.
What are some of those films?
Oh wow, okay. I'll write some of them down for y'all to check out, man. So some of my favorites.
Yeah, it's actually, this looks like a pen, but it's actually chalk.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Oh,
You're gonna erase it too. Oh, there.
technology these days, right? All right, so how do I
Just kind of turn it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.